Hello, everybody. My name is Bobbie Richardson, and today I'm going to channel through some messages. Some of them I received just in the last hour, so I'll bring them up and we will go deeper into them. And I wanted this to be fresh because this was getting exciting as they were downloading these messages into me. I was like, holy crap, I have to go do a live for this, or or a video about this straight away while it's fresh in my consciousness. So they were bringing me to the Atlantis Lemuria age, and while I was there, they were showing me how humanity lived, and we had, even though we weren't as grounded as what we are now, so we were kind of living in a etherical way or etherical manner with collaboration or connection with Gaia. So we were living with her, understanding of her needs, understanding of the needs of every other life form that was on Earth as well. But we didn't have much to do with physically creating. But that we did create in a physical form was in connection with any sort of collaboration that involved other organic substances. So, for instance, crystals, massive trees, and alignments with Gaia herself. So we had the grid lines, and some of these structures were placed on specific points, and they're showing me like a circle, and it has these kind of points like a massive star, but there's lots of little points coming out of the circle, kind of like this big star, and it has all these points around, all the way around it, and then those points were like aligning with the consciousness of humanity, and the crystals kind of agreed with this, that were involved. There was massive intention of abilities that humanity already possessed in the way of our understanding and involvement with each other. So when we collaborated with each other, we actually worked really well together. There was no hierarchy at all. There was specific people who had specific gifts and pieces of the puzzle that fitted in at specific moments that were needed. And no one was more important than anyone else. Whether you were there to just experience or whether you were there with a specific gift didn't make any difference, although the ones that had specific gifts were taken care of in the manner that they needed to be taken care of for those specific gifts to grow. In other words, if somebody had the gift to be able to keep alignment of the crystals, the crystalline structures with humanity's consciousness, and they had this kind of like a glue that glued everything together within their own understanding of themselves, so that if they had a gift of being able to converse or help the elementals or something like that, or maybe they just had specific gifts where they could levitate things, and those gifts were all, relevant to the person's journey, the soul journey that they'd already taken on previous lives. So they were taking me back to all of this, because when humanity wanted to shift their understanding from the soul and the connection to all and collaboration with everything, and they wanted to shift more into being creators themselves and physically creating on Gaia rather than with her, through the logical self or the logical brain starts to take over. Then there was like this breaking up of neuron paths that connected us to our telepathic abilities to be able to communicate with so much more organic life out there. And when that happened, in reflection, Gaia herself went through her own breakup of humanity's consciousness. So all that was connecting us, as in these structures or massive trees or crystalline entities or portals within Earth or Gaia, there was massive shake-ups on Gaia. We're talking earthquakes and floods and all fires and all sorts of things that just, or armies of people that gathered and started to chop down the massive trees and stuff, because in reflection, our neuron paths connected to our soul, which was connecting us to that part of ourselves, were being severed within our brain. And so that has to happen on the outside, because we are only a reflection, or our outside world's only a reflection of our inner core value of who we are and our experience of who we feel we should be. So if we're in guilt or we're in feeling inferior to that communication or that ability, then that ability stops being prevalent, and then the outside world reflects that. So a disaster may come or happen. Now, then we went down that path. And so we learned everything about the physical world and just living on Gaia, not with her, living, utilizing the material world to create, because we wanted to carve our own path materialistically, but because we were still very naive in that, we needed to sever ourselves from the soul, because it was messing up many different frequencies or dimensions with other beings that were still living in those higher frequencies. So everything got cut off from us through our own denial of our power, of our understanding. As our logical brain we started to give more sway to our logic and less sway to our intuition. That's how we ended up going on this journey that we've just gone on. So in the end, instead of having guidance from within, which is our soul's connection, we ended up looking for guidance outside of us. And then we had beings that were representing gods, which then the logical brain will go, see, I can see them, so that means they have value, and thus saying they have values, that I don't trust myself, so I must trust them, so we'll follow them. And then they had the ability to take us down any sort of road that they wanted. Some abused the power massively, especially as we've got along, and it's got worse just recently because we've come full circle into that breaking up. So when we come full circle into our logical brain learning all that it can about the material world, or all that we want to know about anyway in this moment, we end up those that were of power, and saying that they knew more than us, they end up falling away from our reality, because we're starting to wake up to the fact that they weren't all that powerful after all. We were following a false flag. We're following somebody that was in lack of themselves, and the only way that they felt empowered is to have more and more people underneath them. So now we come full circle, and they were telling me that this is a huge shift that's going to be upon us, because there's quite a few of us now waking up. We've peeled away enough of the layers of the onion, so to speak. We've peeled away all of this the victimization of ourselves, not feeling good enough of who we are, understanding where the fears have come from, understanding why we've allowed somebody to be more powerful than us and tell us what to do. We started peeling away all those layers, and every layer that we peeled away came closer and closer to the love of self, love of self, love of self. And at the core of this so-called onion, or these layers, or those rows, was love, just love. And when we hit that, when we peel away one of those layers that just go, oh, I'm love going on a journey, I get it now. Then when you start to shine and bring up and start to create the reality that you truly desire, the business that you want, the businesses that you want, but we're starting to collaborate from connection again. We're starting to collaborate from our connection to our soul, which is just bringing in other souls that are coming in to collaborate with us. We're piecing up all the pieces together. We're seeing each other as value because we see our own value. We don't need to control anything or anyone. We just come into value. And the crazy thing that they showed me was that because of this and new neuron paths connecting back to our understanding of our intuition and the value of our imagination, and our imagination holds many key values to our past lives where a soul has taken, that there will be this unveiling of things that were hidden in the floods and the earthquakes and all that happened when we broke up that part of ourselves. We might have other like earthquakes or something, or tremors, but it will unveil things. We'll have people digging in specific spots, but unveiling things. And that's going to connect to specific people. Those things of Atlantis nature, or our historical path that we forgot, and our connection to it, with our connection to our soul. There's going to be specific people that are lining up with this because that is their specific mission. So they will end up having dreams of these things, or understandings of these things, images within their mind already of these things before they've been unveiled. And then also through their own peeling away their own layers of onions of self-doubt and everything, they end up starting to align with that object in real time, in their time, in their life. And they have the wisdom that can connect that back up again for the whole of humanity's collaboration to connect again, so that we can move into these higher frequencies, or they start to create the actual thing. They're telling me they could be creating it as well. It could be the unveiling of this specific thing. Also, they're saying that where there was an energy alignment, and if that's been taken hostage by those that were not so good because they didn't want us to know about that power, and they used it in a very controlling manner, that will fall away, and then there'll be a new energy alignment on Gaia in another place where specific humans will be able to align with that, or feel into that, or understand that that is a place of importance, a portal, a connection to Gaia, an easier place to connect, an easier place to use as value of to teleport, or to an easier place where we can connect to different planets, where there's caves and stuff like that. There's all this cool, juicy stuff coming our way, but they're showing me there could be a shake-up that could happen, but anyone that is in alignment with the wisdom being unveiled, or the object being unveiled, will not be hurt in any manner whatsoever. They will just, you know, they will be in the right place at the right time after the unveiling of it. There has been certain structures that have been already uncovered, and there is still to be in alignment with the people that are going to bring these structures online again. They're calling it like an online, almost like an internet of woven consciousness that will awake many. Because when we start to connect back to our souls, we are also connecting back to much more, many more, because we have an understanding from a soul core value that we can connect to the Akashic records, we can connect to other planets, alignments, interdimensional, extraterrestrials, we can connect to Gaia herself, to the elementals, we can connect to so much more, depending on which line your soul's journey went on. Also, they're showing me that spiral, and they're saying that when we go on the journey of inward into inward self and understanding the core value of self as love, we will meet on that journey. And as you come around the spiral again, the second time around that comes closer to core value, you will have the same an issue happen. If we go all the way in that spiral, and as we come around, say the point was here, and so we start off, we're going on a story, we hit a bump in the road, it's pretty awful, darn awful, and then we go around, and then we get closer to earth, to our self, our core self, our value of who we are, which is love. But when we hit that bump, where that bump was out here in the spiral, we're inside, but we might hit it again. So we might have a bit of a hoo-ha happening there. That shakes us up, and then we go on a journey. We start to absorb it, connect with it, understand it from a different level. Then we get closer and closer. And as we do get closer, we might hit these bumps. The bumps are meant to happen. If we didn't hit the bumps, there would be no shift. We need to have we need to have some sort of kind of like a blemish in our life, because it literally puts us onto a path of understanding ourselves more. And then when we get to the very core of it, the central core of that spiral, which is just self-love, we start to spiral back out again. And they're showing me that Taurus now, how it goes, how we go on a journey, and we start to go back out again. So, yeah, if you see it as a Taurus energy, we hit our core level of love, self, God, whatever you want to call it, source energy, prime creator, just love within ourselves. You can only find this within yourself. You cannot find this outside yourself. It is within you. And that's why you're peeling away all these layers. And then when you get to the actual core of it, you will start to create or carve a new path, a different path of learning everything that you value, that you've learned, and you meet that value at the core of love of self. So all of a sudden you'll understand, holy crap, I see my journey. I understand, that I have a connection to the Pleiadians, that I have a connection to the Arcturians, that I have a connection to the elementals, that I have a connection to, that I have awesome gifts, that I can shift energies, that I can help guide others, that I can, that I am creative, that I'm good with my hands, that I'm good physically, moving things. I always have a core value of myself to have a strong body, to be able to physically move stuff and so forth. And you see everything in you as beauty, as love. And that comes with it. All the wisdom of the past lives, everything that you've gone on, it all comes flooding in. And you're just like, wow, And then you go on this other journey of bringing in all of that understanding of who you are and carving a whole nother path. So this is what humanity's consciousness is going through. And then when we collaboratively connect with Gaia herself, she's going to go through these bumps where she has bumps as well. So we have the earthquakes or floods or whatever, or fire or whatever it is that's needing to be cleared up. And then we shift with her as she shifts with us. We are like in neuron paths, and she starts to have much more understanding of humanity's consciousness, just as much as we start to have an understanding of her consciousness. And then we are of true value together, working as one. When we hit that love point, that point of loving ourselves fully, blemishes and all, mistakes and all, everything that's happened, it's just a journey. It's just a beautiful adventure that we've all been on. And then we take all of that information, that wisdom, that knowledge, everything that we've done in the past, and we start to carve this new beautiful path. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyway, we're going to go into this huge shift, and I really wanted to share that with you while it was fresh in my brain. It's like sometimes they'll give me something and I've already been told it before, but it's like another level to it, or an understanding, or a vibrational meet with it. It's like a feeling of absolute, and I can't deny it. So I just have to speak it. And that's part of my mission. That's part of who I am. I am meant to speak it. But I'm going on exactly the same journey as you guys. And there's going to be some of us that go first, and then some of us that go after. Some of us that are waiting for the collective to be connected more. Because they've been stuck in life after life, have lost themselves or lost their soul so much that they need to have more validation for their logical brain to accept this within themselves. And that validation comes from the guides that are coming before them, and already carving their own new path. And then they see that, and they see the true value of it, because the people that are doing it see their own true value. And then they start to look for their own true value within themselves, and they wake up as well. So that's kind of one level of it, as well as another level of somebody actually finding or coming into the vibrational meet with a structure that was hidden from the Atlantis Lemuria age, now unveiled, and then they're connecting it. It depends on what story you're coming from, whose story you're coming from, but all of this is happening kind of together. Don't forget, I'm live on Tuesday mornings. I have some fun with tarot, and I do have a couple of free chat bar readings. And I also do channeling on Thursday as well. And look out for my inspirational messages. The last one was of oneness, and it's absolutely beautiful. Straight channel through oneness and the beginning of all time, from oneness's point of view. That's what that was about. Completely on oneness's point of view, like the story or alignment of how creation began, and how humanity's consciousness was part of the journey. So yeah, go have a look at that. That's my last inspirational message. I think it's called The Beginning of All. And also I have some interviews that I've just been on to. So I went with Robert Carlo, had an interview a couple of weeks ago, and then I just did a quick 15-minute like saying hi, here I am, with Jeff Manor. Yeah, so go check that out too. That's on my YouTube channel. So till next time. Bye.